more, you know what I mean? So
That's fine.
just wanted to spell out what your obligations are, basically. Yeah.
Hi, how you
Charlie,
doing?
how are you? Yeah, we're here to represent Robert Sproul. We're his common law advocates and the personal capacity as living men. So obviously, as his representatives, we have the common law right of access to represent Robert. Your colleague was under a bit of a misunderstanding there, so we just wanted to clarify that with you, basically. My name is Paul, and this is Richie.
Can I ask your name, sorry?
Yeah,
Can you
Charlie,
identify
yeah.
yourself, please?
My name's Denise.
Sorry?
Denise.
Denise, right, Denise, thanks very much for coming. Andy, thanks very much for coming. Much appreciated.
Just watch out back, okay? Just that's okay.
Aye, there's plenty of space here for us. It's Denise that was in the road there, it wasn't us. Thanks very much.
Obviously, anybody that's coming through needs to show a pass. Coming through there, anybody else that's coming through
Do you know
needs to
that's
pay
public building?
It's a public place, I don't need to show a
At this
pass.
moment during COVID, it's
Can I
all
just say,
closed.
COVID?
Can I ask you? You're asking me questions and then you won't let me answer.
No, go. Just
so
answer,
it's up
please.
to
Go on,
carry
yourself
on.
if you want me to
Carry
answer
on.
them.
No, Denise,
Okay.
we're going to listen.
Yep.
We're going to listen.
You just have to say this so that
Yeah. No worries.
I'm not going to be circled out.
No, it's
I'll,
all right. We'll stand up. That's for sure.
At this moment in time, the access to the building is strictly for those who have business in the court, who are appearing in the court building, and those that represent anybody will need to present as with an identification pass, solicitors, etc.
Just to clarify, Denise, is that you're saying that's because of the COVID regulations and acts?
COVID regulations at this moment stipulates that we are only allowed to let people into the building who are actually appearing within the building. Due to limited space available,
Well, limited space, okay.
it's because obviously we've got to maintain the distance as well. So therefore, if people bring with them other parties that are
So,
not...
just to be clear, Denise, under common law and because of COVID regulations and limited space, you are denying Robert Sproul representation.
We're not denying anybody representation.
Well, it is in effect. De facto,
If
the due rate is actually a
The
denial.
person
Okay.
who's appearing in court, if they let the people inside the court know that they have got legal representation that require to come in, they will come down and allow you access to the building.
Thanks very much. Appreciate your response and your answer.
Yes.
Thanks very much for that. Currently at this time, what I need to highlight is Paul and myself are living men, flesh and blood. And this is where an inalienable right that has been removed from us by yourself. And you need to be held.
Not by myself.
Can I let me finish, please? I'm trying to notify you what's happening here, Denise. Okay? So what you're doing on a private capacity where you are fully liable for prosecution, you have took 11 man's and myself, 11 man, flesh and blood, inalienable rights given from God away from us. So therefore, Gordon's done the same. That's why we asked for a supervisor. You're doing the same. Probably go for Gordon for about £10,000, but probably about £60,000 for you.
Or you'd be lucky to get that off
No,
me.
all I can say is, right now, I could ask these two constables to place you under arrest because of a breach of common law. And these constables have sworn an oath to uphold common law. So right now, you're in a position, you've put yourself in a position because of your company procedures to be arrested.
It's not my company procedures, the court procedures.
No, you don't hide behind the company. It's always you.
No, I'm not hiding behind the company, but we carry out.
Under common law, that's
Do you really need to be filming me?
Yes, because I'll tell you the reason why. Because you have just forced a procedure on two living men.
You're not letting me speak.
You've broke the law.
You're not letting me speak.
You are just breaking the law right
At what point
now.
have I said you will not be allowed in to represent this person? I have said that the person that you are representing will contact the court and let them know they have legal representation downstairs.
That's not a person.
Who do not carry any identification to prove that, but are required access to the court. And at that point, you will be allowed access to the court. Nobody is denying you access to the court indefinitely, but we need to get the procedures handed over to the
de facto you are denying us access.
I'm not.
Under common law you are.
No,
I'm afraid.
As a living woman you are.
No, I'm not.
I'm afraid that's the bottom line.
No,
Okay.
no. Listen, if you listen to me now, if you listen to me, I've listened to both of you. You will be allowed, if the court believes that you have reason to be in this building, you will be allowed access.
Denise, can you stand aside? I'm going to enter a public space. The court. Is that okay?
It's not the
Okay.
court's choice to make.
Listen, there's absolutely no reason.
Yeah, there is.
You must understand here, right? I'm a living man, I'm flesh and blood. I'm not a violent man, but I do have a reason to go in there. Okay?
To represent.
To represent this man. How you doing, Constable?
Okay.
Excuse me, don't touch me, that's assault.
Do you want to move outside so we can...
Let's go outside. Would you like to speak outside, Constable? Thanks very much. Right, Constable, thanks very much for coming over. Really appreciate it. I just need to establish we're standing here. This is Paul, I'm Richard.
How you doing,
I'm Richard of the family Tyrrell, okay? I'm a common law advocate, as is Paul, okay? We're under common law, because you've approached us, and I'm going to ask you to identify us. I'm going to ask you, we're going to have a conversation with you, and we'd just like to establish your standing. If you can show us your warrant, and I'll put my phone away. I would like to do that one. Can I ask you to identify these constables?
I'm Paul 2720, my name's Ian McGill, alright, BC Ian McGill.
You say a police
constable, yes.
Thank you very much, Constable. No, 584 Delta. Constable, thank you very much for identifying yourself. We've established we're standing now. We're all common law advocates. And they've sworn their oath to common law. Can I ask if today, if you're standing under oath in common law? Yeah, thank you very much. So,
What about you, Constable? Sorry, what about you, Constable? Are you standing under your oath?
Thank you very much.
Obviously, we've got tasks to be doing inside the building.
Appreciate
we won't
that.
be long. We won't
This
be long.
is
Is
quite...
there an issue that's preventing you getting in the building or something like that?
Yes, and this is what we want to explain. We just wanted to establish we're standing. Firstly, we're peaceful men. We're common law advocates, as we say. We're honourable men, so we will not lie to you. And just to let you know, there'll be no requirement for your weaponry today, okay? The reason I'm saying that is we just don't want things getting out of hand. We've established we're peaceful and we would like it to remain that way. So thanks very much. Fully respect these community speak to us. So what's happened is we've got a fellow, a man who is currently in court at the moment.
Okay.
Myself and this man Paul would like to go in and represent him.
Okay.
And we're being denied access on 2 occasions by 2 people. And they've blocked access under a private capacity, under full liability. So, sure, of course there is. Of course there is. You can get in here if you want. All right. So basically what's happened is they've taken our inalienable and God-given right as common law advocates to enter what is effectively a public building. So that itself is a crime itself, just to let you know that, constables. Okay. We've asked for the supervisor, she's also denied us access, so she's taken away our inalienable rights. Now I just want to remind you under oath, when you took that oath, that you were honoured and promised the Queen and country and the people that you would fully support our human rights. So I just want to put that to you here, okay? I don't see that there's any reason why you can't go in and make arrests. If you don't want to do that, that's up to you. But we are due access to that court and we're being denied it.
Where you're coming from with regards to getting out of the building, but obviously because of the coronavirus situation and the coronavirus Scotland that's been brought in, there's restrictions put in place.
Can I
just let me finish first?
Of course you can.
Because they want to limit the capacity of the building,
we understand that,
in relation to the virus. But that's the reason why people are not being allowed access at this present moment in time. Okay, if you are wishing to represent somebody that's in the building, he can present that to the presiding sheriff or the JP, and then they would ask for you to come in. That's what would normally happen with like, defence witnesses and stuff like that.
Sure.
They would be asked to wait outside again to limit the capacity in the building, and then when the time is right, they would be asked to come in and thereafter.
No bother.
So just
thanks very much for that. Really appreciate it. Now, just to bring you back to the acts and stats under the Coronavirus Act, just as living men and women, that acts and stats are given the force of law by the governed, okay? The consent of the governed, and we do not consent. So therefore, acts and stats don't apply to a living man. That's taken away his inalienable and human rights. Do you understand that?
I understand what you said, but
Okay, so any any force of action starts placed against a living man
Right.
is actually a breach of our human rights,
We
and
must
it's a
consent.
direct
We must consent
breach
to it.
of your oath.
Yeah.
So what
Obviously,
I'm saying,
a lot
Constable,
to
is
take in from what you're giving
Yeah,
then.
we
Obviously,
appreciate
a lot to understand what you're
Yeah.
saying, but
Yeah.
from our point of view, obviously, as I said, the capacity is limited in the building because of that reason.
Yeah.
I said to you at the kind of start of the conversation, well, there's tasks for us to be getting on with, and I'm supposed to be in a court. With
Listen,
people
we
down at the building,
appreciate you
alright?
listening,
So
man.
we appreciate
probably-
you guys have gotten
Alright.
pretty much
So-
an impossible job.
It's obviously we could sit here and debate and talk about stuff like that
Yeah.
for quite a while. I can imagine I've seen videos online about it
Yeah.
before and how it becomes a debate and stuff like that. Right. So what I'm going to say is, if you're happy for us to go and get on with our tasks
Of course.
just now in the court building,
Yeah.
I've explained to you why you can't come in the building at this present moment in
and
time.
if you-
If a sheriff agrees that you can come in and if you've got a purpose in the court, then they will allow that.
Well,
All right.
they
But
could.
at this moment in time, with regards to the building, which seems to be the issue that's happening just now, as I said, they are limiting the capacity of the building is why
Right,
you've been
okay.
refused entry.
So just to remind you again, a second time, that action starts are given the force of law by the governed, the consent of the governed, and we do not consent. So this is what you've just. I've already said that to you, Constable, and once again you've come back and said it. You know that we can't get access. You're not allowing us access. I'll ask you once again. Can we gain access to the building,
You're
please?
not allowed access.
So that's
as I said,
a
if
third-
you've got
yeah.
a purpose in the court, as I said, like what would happen with defence witness, they
Yeah.
will allow you
Aye.
access, okay, but unfortunately,
Aye.
this moment in time, they're not doing that.
Right, okay.
It's people.
Sorry, in 2 seconds.
Declining Rob Sparrow representation under common law.
Well, there's Rob Sparrow who's appearing in court, Well, if he has somebody that's representing him in court, and he also present that to the sheriff, and the sheriff would allow
Just-
them to come in.
Constable,
But
I
that's not a decision for me to make about who represents him.
So how do
Right.
we get word to the sheriff then that
But
he's
does Rob
going to
Sparrow
represent him?
not know?
He should know.
Well, I'm sure you can let the sheriff know that in the court. Okay.
Mr. Sproul generally represents himself.
It's not a Mr. Sproul, sorry. This man's not a Mister. This is Robert.
That's who I'm speaking about.
I think you're speaking about a totally different person.
Listen, thanks for your time, 'cause-
No, you definitely are. You're talking about a fraudulent thing that the government made up. You're not speaking about a living man, flesh and blood.
Just to make it
with the
very, very
inalienable
clear
rights.
that mandatory
So-
needs consent and under common law. we do
Constable,
not
I've
consent,
asked you
okay?
twice if
No,
we
I
can
know
get
you
access
have.
to the building,
I have
and I
said.
work in the rule of three, as does the law.
No, as I
Okay,
said, I've
and I'm
explained
going
it
to
to you.
ask you again,
Well,
if you let me speak, please. I'm going to ask you again. Can we, as living men, get access to the court?
No.
No.
Okay.
So what I need to do now is I need to hold you fully responsible under a private capacity, because you're acting under the coronavirus acts, which I've told you that we do not consent to. All right. This isn't personal. It's just that you're doing a job. You feel that you need to uphold this. Really, you should be upholding law and not kind of forcing action stats. That's the difference. That's the difference between legal and lawful here. You've identified yourself. You've refused us access. We're peaceful men. We're going to stay outside, just to let you know. As I say, you can see your weaponry. There's no requirement for it today. Okay, just to let you know. Thanks very much for
That's no
coming out and
problem,
speak to you.
thank
We're not happy with the result,
Yeah, of course.
but we'll deal with that.
Thank you,
We'll deal with that at a
Constable.
later
Yeah,
date,
thank
Constable.
you.
Okay.
Okay,
I said
okay.
the only thing I would ask is just to try and keep the door clear for
There's,
us.
honestly, there's no. We will, but there's no requirement
I know
for
we're
telling
big,
us
but
what
we're
to
not that
do.
big.
Yeah, thank you
Okay.
very much.